meeting. Thank God's my last one. Amen.
Leave here.
I second that motion.
Me too.
Roll, please.
President Dilbert.
Present.
Trustee Hill.
Present.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Craig Miles. Trustee Chapman Saxon with notice. Trustee Prymore. Here. Trustee B.
Here.
Clerk Matt. Attorney Solis, he's not coming.
No, we got time.
Okay, and Treasurer Winsack.
Here.
Approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Properly moved and supported that the agenda be approved as presented. Questions on the motion? Roll, please. No, I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment on agenda. Public hearing, none. Attorney, none. President's items. Mr. Ryan Smith is here to receive questions from council.
President Dilbert.
Yes.
Can we just flip A and B so, Mr. Ryan Smith could probably take more time than A, adding the clerk to the new clerk to the.
Yeah, I don't have a
Yes,
problem.
exactly. So what, can we just switch A and B?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you.
We need to add a third check signer, and law requires that the clerk be one of the signers. And what we need is a formal motion from council approving the incoming clerk as the check signer. And that needs to be a motion.
I make a motion to add Karina Guerrero as New Haven Village Clerk to the signing of the Chase account. Is it Chase?
It's Chase and Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union.
All villages account. Second.
Can you remove the other one? I was going to say you gotta remove that. You gotta remove that one.
Yes,
And
yes.
remove, yes.
And Clerk Black will be removed. Yeah, this is
Clerk
required by
White
Chase.
and Audrey
And
too.
Audrey.
Second.
It's properly moved and supported that the incoming clerk, Karina Guerrero, be added as a check signer on our Chase and Michigan School and Government accounts.
Effective immediately.
Effective
As soon as we can get him out here to do the signature card.
I think he's coming out Monday with the actual documents.
Is the election certified? The election. Because I have no way to email them certified. Has anybody got anything?
I haven't.
I was at Lennox Township today and she said they've done everything that they need to do, that it should be certified. I mean,
County
people take
The
off
county
on Sunday.
certified, so they
Yeah.
normally send me an email. Okay.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Craig Miles.
Yes.
Trustee Hill.
Yes.
Trustee B.
Yes.
Trustee Prymore.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
President Dilbert.
Yes. Mr. Ryan Smith, I think we're gonna just allow council to ask questions. And our new accountant is here also, Sandra Cazell. Questions of Mr. Ryan Smith or of the accountant? I would only ask that we ask one question, allow them time to respond, and just be respectful.
Mr. Gilbert. Number one, I had a handout. Do you mind if I come out the board and then if I stay at the podium?
Sure, please.
Good evening. Thank you for calling this meeting. So as President Dover said, I'm here to answer all your questions. Before you ask any, if you don't mind, I'd like to summarize a few things. I was here back in, I think it was August or July. I think it was August. And we talked about the status of the work my office is doing and what I anticipated going forward. I handed out a list of items that my office is working on, very similar to what I just handed out. Many of the same items we have still worked on right through this month, November. But there have been some items completed. So I've made some notations, some changes to this list. For example, the bank recs are now completed through October. That procedure will be handed off to Sandy. President Dover and Sandy and I talked earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, we talked about that process. So I don't anticipate my office being involved much more with that procedure. The audit work we're doing, which is basically providing the auditors with information, is near completion with respect to the audit for the fiscal year ending March 2014. We are expecting a draft of the March 2014 audit next week. Once we get that draft, we'll forward it to the board. Please be advised, the board's review of the draft is a very important part of the audit process. So I would ask you to look at it, read it, get back to the auditors with questions you may have, or certainly get ask me any questions you may have. If we get the draft next week, maybe you can be presented at the board meeting in December. I don't know the date of that meeting. I'm speculating, and I'm certainly not making an agenda for you, but I'm just suggesting it's a possibility. The bank recs was a massive job. Really proud of the work that everybody did on that, both from my office and the village office. It wasn't simply ticking and checking items from the bank statement compared to the books. It was revamping the books. I hope the treasurer would agree that you can now look at a general ledger and differentiate between what's in the Macomb County Schools and Government Credit Union and the Chase account. And you can tell the difference between what's in the Chase checking as opposed to the two X51 savings accounts that we have, and so on. Really important part of control. And the Treasury, I don't want to speak for her, but she knows that's a really important part of her job, is maintaining custody of those accounts. And it was really difficult when the general ledger did not reflect what bank accounts existed. So that's complete. Reporting issues. So, at 51 Street Financial Report, F65, some of the transparency reports, the continuing disclosure undertaking reports. These are ongoing. So as we're catching up with these reports, new deadlines are approaching. So just want you to know that's made things a little difficult as far as getting up to date. We're getting there. Just going to take a little more time. Back to the audits. So as I said, hopefully very soon we get the March 2014 audit issued. I expect March 15 and March 16 to be issued much quicker. I can't speak for the audit firm, but I know my office is ready to go with March 15th. We're ready to hand that over. So a lot of the work that, that we've done and have charged the village for relates to work that the auditors haven't even started. So I expect that process to go much quicker, much sooner. March 14 was very difficult for a number of reasons. But the fact that finding records was so difficult certainly made it tough, made it very difficult. So with that, I'd like to answer any questions you have.
I had a quick question. Where are you at with the F-65 report? Because I got a letter today that said they were missing it for March of 2016.
16? Yeah, 16 hasn't been.
Okay.
Hasn't been. We are currently preparing March 15. And the reason that's not been filed yet is we had to get the bank recs further along.
I just received the letter and I was just curious.
Before I was comfortable preparing an F-65 and handing it over to the president to sign, we had to get further along in these bank recs, and there were massive, numerous journal entries.
I know.
As a result of the bank recs. But so my point is, March 15, F-65 will be done very shortly. I would say by the middle of December, we expect to be able to issue that. And then March 16, we need to talk about them. I'm a little reluctant to issue F-65s without an audit, but I think we're getting more confidence in the general ledger and the internally generated financial statements to be able to do that.
And I asked a question, the F-65 report, does that hold up any money for the village?
It hasn't yet, but the state is entitled to do so, so that would be the sales tax revenue. They are entitled to do that, but it hasn't yet.
Okay. Now, our Act 51, are we caught up to date with our Act 51?
Yes, the March 16 Act 51 street report has just been filed.
So state, any monies from the state or revenue sharing or anything, the village is where?
My understanding is MDOT withheld September 2016 Act 51 revenue, which would have just been issued maybe a week ago.
Right.
And they'll release that right away. The report's been submitted. I have talked to the person in charge of that. Her name is Lori Cole. And she knows that the report was just filed, and she'll release those funds.
Okay. I know at one time the village was able to file all this every other year. Will they be able to go back to file every other year, or do we have to continue to file every year?
You're talking about the audit?
Yes.
Until the debt is paid off, you have to file that every year.
Every year.
Which day?
Both the dwarf, so the water fund
The
debt,
sewer.
and the sewer debt.
Oh, because they are standing bond, so they need to see what our financial status
It's a
is.
contractual obligation.
Okay, I'm starting to remember that now. Okay. For fiscal year 3/31/16, usually the audit starts around September. Has that started already, or no? So that's still left to be done?
March 16th audit?
Yes.
Yes,
Still left
that's,
to be done.
yeah, we gotta get March 14 done and issued.
Okay.
And then we're gonna try to get into March 15 right away, and then right on the heels of that, get into March 16.
16, right. Okay.
John, just so it's clear, something actually I think the reason that it actually brought you here tonight I mean, one of the reasons that brought us here tonight was in 2014, it was reported to council at the last meeting that the auditors were asking for more information. And there may have been some information that they've already had, or so. Can you enlighten us on that?
The audit firm, Bill & Yo, issued a request list, what they call an open item list, to Deborah, Clerk Mack, back, I'm going to say around August of 2015, maybe July of 2015, there were about 25 items on that list, which was, it was a substantial list. And all of those items were provided to the audit firm. There are 2 offices working on the audit. The Ann Arbor office and the Saginaw office. I think, I can't speak for the audit firm, but I think maybe in the communication, transfer of information between the 2 offices, certain items that we had already provided weren't forwarded to one or the other office. So I don't know if that's what was brought up at the other meeting or not.
Something similar to that. I think I reported to council that they just recently asked for a copy of our lease agreement. And there was one of the items.
The budget.
The budget.
The budget for March 14th.
Yeah.
You know, which wasn't on the original list of 25 items issued to Clerk Mack.
Oh, okay.
So, there was, you know, maybe a little concern that those items might have been, that they may have acquired those in their initial fieldwork meeting out here. And I don't think it slowed anything down. I was hoping that it didn't slow anything down. We provided the items. They never asked my office for that previously. But they're pretty basic items. And that's all I really know. I will say this, March 2014 was a very difficult year to audit for a number of reasons. And I think Yo & Yo has done a really good job of keeping things moving forward. Maybe not at the pace that I had hoped, but I'm not complaining and I'm not criticizing, because I think they had a difficult time scheduling things because they were waiting on information. It wasn't anybody's fault that they weren't, getting it maybe when they had scheduled to receive it. It was just a circumstance.
I have a question. So you mentioned that you totally revamped the books and everything. Is this something that will assist us moving forward in a more organized fashion?
For sure.
Okay, so it's an actual structural change, procedural policy, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but it's something that affects kind of what we do from this point forward.
Yes.
Quick question. So, to the best of your knowledge, where did things go wrong? Obviously, there's a lot to fix, and I don't doubt that. But to the best of your familiarity, because I know you did serve the village, I don't know, a decade ago or so. and I don't know how things were at that time, in your opinion, but at least for what you're looking at now, how or who or when did things go wrong?
There was a period of time where the office was turned upside down. I'm not sure why, I'm not sure what the objective was. I'm not sure why certain elected officials were performing certain tasks, but they were. And as we moved forward and got further into the March 14 audit, that became more and more evident. Some things were kind of complicated, some things were very basic. There were invoices we couldn't find, which is just so fundamental. And then some we never did find, and some we would find in a pile, thrown in a pile with other records that weren't invoices, had nothing to do with accounts payable. Completely unorganized.
So when you say the March 14 audit, that means from what date to what date?
Well, that covers the fiscal year April 1st, 13 through March 31st, 14.
But those invoices should have been inserted into the system before payment was issued. If someone was payments, you have to input it into the system for payments to be issued on, correct?
Yeah, the electronic data was there, but you had to have a hard copy.
Copies, you need to find a hard copy to go with the checks and balances. Is what was
My understanding is they were taken out of the office. I've been advised they were taken out of the office on more than one occasion, returned, sometimes taken out again, returned, and it's not a good system. It's not advisable. And
If I may, what direction it is, let's say the west, south, the south wall of my office, there's a counter that's full of boxes and crates. And up under there's boxes and crates that I personally have never touched. Okay? The girls in the office have all been, maybe Lori and Melissa and now Sandra, if you can't find something, take a look on that wall. Okay? And some of the invoices that were missing out of the file room, that's where they were found. Okay? Mixed in with, like Mr. Ryan Smith said, a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay? And that's all part of the,
Robert have issues.
I was trying to avoid saying that name.
It's the truth.
That's all part of that process back then. And just so you know, in addition, we found checks that had been had been made out, signed by 2 signatures and never
cash.
cashed.
Places of money.
Okay. They have come across personnel records. Okay? Including yours.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I
Okay?
worked with the girls.
So that wall, let me just say, that wall, like I said, I have personally I come and I sit down and I don't even look at it because I don't know. You won't find my fingerprints on it.
Well, you'll find mine because you spent several hours
Several
looking for
hours.
documents that John needed, digging through those boxes.
Yeah.
And we were able to find some original documents that should have been in the file.
That should have been in the file.
So I understand it firsthand. I was there. It's a hot mess. It's horrible back there.
And so the ladies in the office have been instructed that when they have, on occasion, downtime, feel free, go in there and just continue to go through And, you know, if you find something that you think is pertinent, you know, file it away and do what you need to do with it. And that was part of the holdup, the slowness of this whole process. That 13, 14 period was a hot mess.
Okay, so, another question, so it seems like we're finishing,
And that's good.
March 2014 here shortly. Just to clarify, that is behind schedule as compared to the norm for municipalities, right? At this point, they should be finished with 2015 probably, or 16.
March 16 was due September 30th.
And I know that you said you do expect the following years to go quicker, because a lot of files were missing and whatnot. I hate to even ask this because I already know the answer, but any sort of broad estimated time frame of getting us current from this point forward?
If I could schedule the auditor's time, I think March 31st or April 30th is a reasonable expectation to get March 15 and March 16 issued, but I can't schedule their time. What I can tell you is, I think my office will be able to deliver the information and assist them. And by the way, it's not, my office isn't just making copies and delivering things. We are providing some of the analyses that an auditor requires of its clients. For example, fixed assets. Nobody at the village currently has a fixed asset schedule. My office prepared that, and there's, 500 items. I don't know how many items are out there, but it's extensive. My office has them. My office has done that for the village. An auditor cannot sign an opinion without a fixed asset schedule. So the village now has that. So, my point is, it's not simply Xeroxing, hunting, finding, Xeroxing, and sending. It's accounting, it's bookkeeping, it's analyses, and it's corresponding with Macomb County Public Works, Macomb County Road Commission, State Treasurer, and so on. So I hope I answered your questions. I'm sorry it has to be vague because I can't control the audit firm.
Just to confirm, the audit firm is Young.
Yes.
The disclosure information had not been done in relationship to the North Gratiot bonding, had not been done since,
Can't give you a definite date, but it's been years.
Right.
Yeah, the continuing disclosure undertaking, which is it's a contractual obligation itself. It's not an audit, but it's a contractual obligation to provide financial and some non-financial information to the bond advisors, the Zinski and Company
Yeah.
that helped write and issue the bonds.
But that bond, those bonds weren't fully issued until that project completed, correct? Which was a couple of years ago? right?
Yeah, well, so there were different phases to the project, and so different,
6, I think.
Five.
5.
yeah, so there are different years of bond issuance,
Mhm.
and so,
For each bond that was issued, they should have had the following year, the transparency report completed.
it's called a continuing disclosure undertaking. I don't know why they named it that. It's an annual requirement,
Right.
and basically it's a law, it's a federal law. It says,
That goes along with the audit, correct? that disclosure?
Much of the information in the audit
It's probably-
satisfies what's required in the
In the
continuing
report.
disclosure.
Okay. So it probably was, it started when, when you was acting, but you was already out of position when that first bond was issued, so I'm
Yeah.
not really sure.
2006, I think.
2006, wasn't it? Okay. So that was, so how far back are you stating that the last time? that was-
Some of the information they're requesting goes back to 2007.
Wow.
Their primary concern is 5 years, but they do ask, they want to know major employers, top taxpayers. They want to know how many cases are in Michigan Tax Tribunal. Some of these things that you won't find in an audit.
We had a lot of those, didn't we? 2010 was tax tribunal cases.
10, 11, or 9, 10.
We had a lot of those.
So you can see some of this stuff reach back
Long time.
a long time.
Well, this has been, it's been a while.
I got a question. So once we're all caught up, if the stars align in March and April 2017, let's just say, once we're all caught up, do you still see yourself as in a more limited capacity still serving the village in New Haven? Is that something that?
Whatever the board wishes. So I think there will always be work for somebody like me. But it's just a matter of what the board wants and what, who's going to do that work. As I say, one of the problems with catching up is you have to stay current and new work is coming in. So there were bonds, liabilities, obligations that nobody at the village knew about. That will be recorded as part of both, all three audits, March 14, March 15, and March 16. Somebody has to stay on top of that. Sandy's very knowledgeable and has a lot of experience and will do a great job with that. It takes time. Budgeting, creating a good budget takes time. Chris and I spent a significant amount of time on the March 17 budget. It's helpful to have somebody that knows the law, that knows how to plan for expenditures, how to anticipate things. So,
Is it, to your understanding, it's kind of the norm to have for a municipality to keep on somebody, not paid staff, but at least in some capacity, somebody that serves the role that you've been serving then on an ongoing basis?
yeah, in different capacities, whether it's a consultant or an employee.
It has been suggested that in addition to bringing Sandy on as a accountant, taking care of the day-to-day, that we also possibly enter into an agreement with an outside CPA who may come in on a limited basis, once a week, once a month, whatever, to spot check things. I think there's a lot of communities that's how they do it. To be that, maybe that check and balance with the accountant to make sure that he or she is doing what they're supposed to be doing. But it should be on a much limited,
So, I mean, that would basically be in place of what Plant Moran used to provide for us.
I can't speak for Plant Moran, I wasn't here.
No?
I don't know what
Well, I know there's different opinions as to how good they perform, but that was what they were supposed to be providing to us, right?
No, they were doing more than that,
Just a lot.
because we had them, they were in like 2 days a week. So they were like, more of a part-time employee to us. I don't think that's what the village needs. You know, like Chris was saying, I know a lot of municipalities use a CPA that comes in quarterly, just to, you know, like every 3 months or so.
Spot check.
Spot check, yeah, see, make sure you, but you guys do what you want to do.
Plant Moran was your account. Plant Moran
Right,
was
exactly.
your bookkeeper.
Quick question. So I know that you said the bank recs are done. As a result of that, have the rates that you've been charging us dropped, or how has your
Hourly rate or number of hours?
either or, if you could?
So hourly rate, no. Hours, we just finished October, so, you know, so we've done all the bank recs up through October, so we will not have any more time on bank recs, but we haven't realized that yet. We haven't realized the decrease in time related to bank recs yet.
Let me ask this question, John, because it seems like we're beating around. At the last 3 council meetings, I think it's been council has been, or say, some of council has been, I want to say this right, your pay, or continuing to pay you, and that they have a problem with that. And I think that they're looking at, do they actually need you? And that's basically been, you know, the board not wanting to extend the pay, or want some not wanting to extend the pay. I don't want to beat around the bush. And I think they ought to put it out in the opening. If they want you, they want you. If they don't, they don't. Or if the village, where would the village be? You know, could Sandy take this on today and take off with it and do the things that you're doing? I think that's kind of what I would like to hear, but as a citizen, where the village is going to be without you doing anything. And I think I'll just keep it like that for now, because I think there's a few of them in here that would like to ask that question, but maybe they'll do it on Facebook, but they won't do it in this meeting today.
Okay, so if I understand the question.
Yes.
My answer, my response is, I don't think Sandy can take over what my office is doing currently and stay up to date.
Okay.
Again, there are things happening every day, and Sandy is the office accountant, and there's activities every day that needs to be dealt with. You're going to fall behind again, and that doesn't seem to make much sense to me.
Is it something that the treasury-elect, is it something that, you know, they could work in together, or I'm asking as a citizen right now, because I'm very concerned about the village and where it's going to be going. And I am not going anywhere other than over there.
I don't know how much time the treasurer has to put in on village business. I can't answer that. I don't know. I know that, you know, my office has a lot of experience and knowledge on municipal matters and compliance issues and auditing issues and financial reporting issues. And that's how I'm able to help the village. I've worked with Sandy, I don't know, a couple weeks now or something, and everything that I can tell to this point indicates she's very capable, very knowledgeable, hardworking, diligent, loyal, and everything that you want to see in employees, I've seen thus far. there's still a massive amount of work to do. And again, particularly with the audits, it's not simply xeroxing invoices and sending them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers mine. I didn't want to answer for me, but I wanted to answer for the board that's going to be here. And they will be.
And if I could just say, the question doesn't offend me, I'm not insulted, I'm not, you all have a fiduciary responsibility, I'm not, I understand the question.
I'd just like to kind of comment on that as well. So I was one of the people who has voted a couple times now to stop paying. And it wasn't necessarily because I thought the work was unneeded. For me, it was the fact that, as far as I understood it, a time frame, an estimated time frame, I know those are estimated, I know things can change, and I know things, different factors that aren't discovered yet can totally put a wrench in things. I understand that. But back when, I can't even estimate when, a few months ago, many months ago, we were given like a time frame. Just estimated, okay, in about 3 months, I think we're going to be done. I think we've been passed we made a motion to pay for the next 3 months or something like that. Well, that time frame came and went, and he was still employed, and he was still getting paid, and up to that point, and then even there forward for a couple more months, we didn't really get an update, whether in writing or with his presence, like tonight. Like, this completely would have changed my votes previously. I'm not a financial guru. I know nothing about it. My eyes glaze over when numbers are in many lines and stuff like that. That's not my job. But it would offer a lot of peace of mind for an update, either written, and I mean, it could be as small as on a 3x5 card. Did this, did that, did this, did that, still got to do this, still got to do that. Might be done in 3 months, might be done in 9 months. I don't know, I can't tell yet. Just a small little update every now and then to kind of let us know where you're at, what you've accomplished thus far, and what you still need to do. That's why I have voted no. That's why I have been, I don't want to say critical. I haven't necessarily, like I said, I didn't necessarily think that he's sandbagging or anything like that. But it's just the fact of the matter is I need an update. It's the principle of the matter to me is I need an update.
It's a reasonable request, I can't.
And look, I'll sit here and I'll take responsibility for it not happening. Not necessarily intentional, but there's been more than one occasion when I probably should have invited Mr. Ryan Smith to a council meeting. And I, forgot or just failed to extend that invitation.
Well, since you brought up, I did say it, I don't take it back what I said, because of the history, and Mr. Ryan still know about the history from previously about, possible lawsuits that was going on back during that time. And I still stand by what I said based on history and what took place while I was sitting here. So I was concerned that maybe that was something that's going to continue. But I did vote for him to come back here to clean up the books because I felt that's something that needed to be done, and that's who was on the agenda, that's what was recommended before the board. So if I was one who didn't believe in redemption or people's ability to get things done, I would have never voted for him to return. So when I used the word sandbagging, I meant dragging things out, taking longer than it should take to be done. And I want to know why it was taking so long. That came from me. So Mr. Harris and everybody else want to call people out tonight, I'm good with that too. And I would like to say something on behalf of
I didn't say
Trustee.
anybody.
Just a minute. On behalf of Trustee Banneker, he's been very consistent in his votes. Even when the firm that before, he had issues with not having reports. And he stated such, he don't vote on anything without having a report in front of him. So whether he put it on Facebook or whether he said it on his table, he's very consistent in his opinion. And I don't think he's ever been very personal in his opinion. He's always brought up supporting documentation for his opinion. Whether I agree with someone or I don't agree with them, he's very consistent.
just for the record, I didn't say anybody's name. I'm just putting it out there that the board will know and and if they want to look at it, they don't even have to look on Facebook. You can look at the TV camera that's sitting in the back, because that's the way it happens.
Nobody
And also, don't say nothing else to me about what I said or so.
I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm telling you, because this is my last one, I don't care.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
All right?
you wanna call him? Call him.
We don't need to analyze everybody's.
Call you out. You step out.
Any other questions for Mr. Ryan Smith?
I would just like to say, Mr. Ryan Smith, just like you gave us this, like you said, if somebody can't be here from your office, you can't be here, you know, just something to let us know what's happened over the past couple of months, everything you did, or even if you didn't finish what you started, you know, let us know what's going on. Would be, you know, it would be helpful. So then we would have to, you know, have.
Well, each time that you submit a bill, you send 8 or 10 pages of documentation, which I send to council.
You don't send the full bills.
Yeah, the whole packet of things that he's done. Because I normally do it because normally there's a lot, I do it in 2 emails. So, that whole list, that's his bill. That's what he's worked on for those 3 months or however. He bills in 3 month cycle.
For this, just like I said, my eyes glaze over when I see a whole bunch of pages and lines and numbers.
You're right.
So, I mean, is
That's
this
okay,
one?
so I
I
understand.
like it, so this is awesome. I mean,
But I would say this, even if, in fact, I think all of our professionals, even if you don't act, if you only get the line item of what you're actually paying them, you can always come in the office and look at the bill. I mean, what the work that they've actually done. That has always been here in the office.
As long as it's in the file.
Well, if it's not in his office. If it's not in his office on that back desk.
Hey, good Joe.
Any other questions? So we're gonna, am I safe to assume, or shall I not assume anything? That Mr. Ryan Smith is gonna continue doing the work that he's doing, or?
Should we talk to accountant Kazel or Caswell?
Hazel.
Kazel.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Did we talk to her?
First thing, Sandy Case call.
Sandy Hazel.
Hi.
Hi.
We read the initial application for the position, but can you tell us, more what you did in New Baltimore?
Well, in New Baltimore, I was part of I did accounts payable, and I also did all the financials and general ledger work over there. I prepared for audits. I took care of a lot of the, how do I explain it? A lot of the budget issues, setting up budgets and stuff like that over there. Mostly day-to-day operations I dealt with. I kept everything going over there smoothly as I can. I dealt with the utility billing. I dealt with accounts receivable and the treasurer. I did a lot of stuff for the treasurer. I did all the journal entries for the treasurer for all the stuff. I did bank reconciliations. I did a lot of stuff, so stuff that we need to get done here too. So basically that was what my job.
Are you familiar with any of these reports, like Act 51?
Yes, ma'am. Act 51 is basically for your local and major roads. Act 65 is, I can't tell, of course, right now I can't tell you what it is.
You did fiscal report and accountability. Wow. These names are like that one.
Yes, yes.
So you're familiar with those reports?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have a secondary auditor like Mr. Ryan Smith come in, a CPA come in?
We did. We had Platinum Ryan over there, and then we also had, last time, I don't remember their names now because we changed it, some accountant firm that did the financials over in Grand Rapids. I can't remember the name. Before that, we had Ernst & Young.
So that was an extra layer of,
There was always extra layer, yes. They didn't have they had a Platinum Ryan that came in and they prepared the audit because we were so busy over there. We had 12,000 residents over there and we had 12 people in the office. So there was a lot of layers and stuff like that, but they had extra accounting over there because we had projects and stuff like that happening. And our assistant to the mayor did not have the background to do the budgets and stuff like that, even though it was her responsibility to do that, so that was what was happening over there. And also too, I also worked over in Emily City, and it was part-time. I had done payroll, and I had done financials, and I also had done general ledger entries, and adjusting fees and stuff like that also. So I've done a lot in different aspects in the municipalities.
So, as the new accountant for New Haven, do you see yourself as being able to handle work with occasional oversight from a CPA firm?
Oh, sure, yes. I mean, I can take care of the day-to-day operations, make sure the bank reconciliations are done, make sure that we're getting stuff reported on time. I'm probably gonna need some consulting information just because of the fact that, the financials part of some of those reports need to be looked at and probably somebody go over it before I submit them. I don't have people in place that could, help me with that decisions, make sure the stuff is getting to them properly. I would like somebody to be able to look at them and make sure that I have reported them correctly. Okay, can I answer your questions?
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Once you get up and running and you get familiar with what's going on here, and I know it's got to be a steep learning curve, how often did this additional layer of accountancy come in New Baltimore?
Clinton Brand came in once a week.
Okay.
During audit time, they were there twice a week to do the stuff because of the fact that day-to-day, like I said, I was doing day-to-day. They were there, they geared up for 2 days, and we supplied them with most of the information out they went, and they didn't. I mean, we had a lot more OPEB, Gatsby 34, Gatsby 68, Gatsby 72, and stuff like that was happening over there. So I don't know how much that came to us yet, but there's a lot of extra reporting, the new changes in the financial system that we have to report now. So I don't know how much it's going to affect us here, but I know our retirement system is not like theirs over there. There was a lot of reporting on the payroll side that had to do reports and stuff like that. So there are differences, but there's the same stuff that needs to be taken into consideration.
Question for President. So, President Gilbert, having a CPA come in is like the accountant was saying maybe once a week. That will speed up the audit process for the office, right? Because they're already looking at the books.
Once we're caught up.
Once you're caught up, that's once you're
Right.
caught up.
Once we're caught up.
But you're still behind by 2 audit years, right?
Yes, but we fully expect those to go much quicker.
So you still have a lot more work to do over the next 3 years, so you guys gonna be working together for a while on
No,
the next 3. Oh, that's Yo-Yo.
yeah.
But he still have to provide the documentation.
Right, but there's going to be 3 audits that are going to be eventually completed, with 13-14 being the first one, which is near completion, and then we expect 14-15 and 15-16 to go much quicker because of all the cleanup that had to be done back.
So far,
Yeah.
from what you see so far. But you don't know for sure what's gonna happen over the next 2 audits, right? Even though you cleaned up those other bank recs, you still have to go through them and see what's going on with the other 2 years, right?
Correct. Yes.
See, that's what I was thinking, I want to make sure I understand that. It's not just the oversight. There's a little bit more work that still needs to be done.
Potentially, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Anything else? Can I sit down?
No, you must stay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any suggestions? And are we satisfied that the work that Mr. Ryan Smith is doing is necessary?
suggestion or request, something like this, maybe once a month. Just
Yeah.
that.
We'll make that happen. And on occasion, we'll even get Mr. Ryan Smith out here so that he can stand, because I can understand the benefit of getting a report and/or being able to ask a question and hearing the answer. There's definitely benefit.
At some point, do we see the CPA's role being reduced down to intermittent oversight of what the accountant is doing?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I think that is the ultimate goal, yeah. No
Do
doubt
we
about
have
it.
a time frame when that might be accomplished?
When we're caught up.
When we're caught up, especially with these audits, yeah.
Okay, the work that we're doing with the audits is we're just furnishing information to the company actually doing the audits? Or are we actually doing the audits ourselves?
We're not doing the audits, we're providing information.
Okay.
Would March or April be possibly in that? Because I know Mr. Ryan Smith said that, he said he doesn't have control of the scheduling of Joe and Yo's work on the matter, but he said that he would expect, and I know that can be, that's estimated, but you did mention that you think that you'd probably be caught up and ready to send stuff out by March or April. So would that be an estimated time frame of when we can maybe scale back Mr. Ryan's role to?
I think that's achievable. Again, it's the board's decision. But I want to be clear that it's not just assisting the auditors that my office has been working on. There are special projects for the president. Assisting the accounting office, when Lori has a question, or Cindy has a question, or Melissa has a question, I might have to research, and Deborah might have to file a report with the insurance company, and she has to bring out.
Are any of those tasks, could our own accountant handle those?
Certainly,
Okay.
certainly. Is there time? My point is this. There will always be, even when you're caught up and issuing all your reports timely, there will be work that needs to be done that the office may not have time for when that work needs to be done. So you might get behind if you don't have somebody like me helping out. I don't think there's enough people in the office to help with everything that comes up with running a municipality.
So they would be hiring more office personnel?
Or somebody like me, or
You're a little more
putting it-
expensive than a clerk. Just a little more expensive than a clerk.
Well, the clerk won't have the knowledge, the clerk won't have the experience. The
Oh,
clerk
yeah,
won't be
accountant.
able to assist the president with some of his questions about, how can I finance this, what is the law about?
So it could be as a case-by-case basis, an hourly billing for
Certainly.
consulting.
Sir? And my point is, there will always be work, and that the list that you have in front of you, assisting the auditors, is just one item. What's coming off that list is bank recs. Sandy's perfectly capable and will do a great job.
One of the other things that we're doing in the office is, Sandy is looking at the other three ladies in the office and the responsibilities, and to make sure that they're all contributing, carrying their weight. We know that the water building department is pretty much a full-time, based on monthly billing, that's pretty much a full-time job for that one person. And when water bills are being sent out, it's actually 1.5 people that have to handle that. And then you got the shut-offs, and then you got all of that. So that's a major undertaking. And you're just paying the bills and inputting all the stuff and cutting the checks and all that kind of, and then you've got the building department, you got the cemetery, you got code enforcement, you got a person over at handling all. So we're looking at who's not overworked and who can pick up some slack, and making sure that we're trying to get the most out of all three of the ladies, and which I must say, for the most part, they're all contributing.
Quick question. Do we know how much plant moran was costing us per year?
$6,000 a month.
How much?
Six.
6,000 a month.
6,000.
Sure, that's the right
It started out at
number?
$6,500 a month, and then we asked them to take a it decreased, and then they broke it down to $6,000 a month.
So they were doing what is that, 72?
Yeah.
72 a year?
2 days a week,
Sometimes once.
right? Sometime one day a week, right?
President Dover, can I just share a couple of things
Sure.
with the remaining people? Sandra's come in, she's done a great job. She's gonna be taking on some of the jobs that I did for the office. She's got, because the new clerk is not gonna be able to handle it. She has no history, she's new. She's gotta concentrate just on doing the minutes, and she doesn't have the time to put in like I did. So she's gonna be doing portions of what I did, and we work really well in transitioning, but she's gonna be able to work and keeping other stuff on her. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I'm just saying the way I see it, the way the office is gonna be handled, if you keep loading things on it.
We got to be aware that Sandy has to have a balanced workload and certainly not be overworked and stressed out.
Because if there's a problem with water bills, like you said, 1.5, or sometime 2, or, it used to be 3 of the ladies, all 3 of the ladies working on that project at that time. So,
As a mailing goes alone,
yeah, it's
I've
a
helped her
process.
out before.
I've been working on changing that procedure, so
Good.
we've come up with some solutions so that we
Make it easier.
make it a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working on that.
Just
So
give
we're
you
gonna
a-
Streamline.
Just to give you a brief outline of what some of the things that Sandy has taken on, which I certainly appreciate. We just reduced our employee life insurance and short-term disability. And it's just by making a call, taking a look at it, and getting quotes. So in addition to reducing the cost, the Middlebrook Insurance Company will cover all of our insurances, our health and our life. And I think we're gonna save a couple grand a year just on life insurance, we had been paying some pittance amount, $25 for,
This is for Cobra continuing.
Cobra.
30.
okay? We have no employees that are on Cobra, okay? And so we've been paying a firm for Cobra coverage that they would cover in case we had somebody on Cobra. Well, Meadowbrook, that's part of their service. So and I think it was only $25, $35 a
It's
month,
$30 a month, but then we
Yeah.
got
which isn't a great deal of money, but it's money that was just being given away. So it's things like that that Sandy has seen, recognized, and have acted on. And I'm sure there will probably be more to come. So, having her in place, it's definitely been a help already.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I do just want to make one observation though, and I'm fully satisfied with everything I heard here. But again, maybe in that March, April time period or something like that. Again, he's costing, to my understanding, about $10,000 a month at this current rate, right? With as much as has been taken on with bank recs, which are now going to be falling off. So plan rate was $6,000. We're currently at $10,000. Hopefully it'll drop, but again, hopefully we'll get around that $6,000 rate.
I would hope that it continues to go
Or
down.
lower. Yeah.
Certainly.
Can I comment on that, though, please?
Sure.
We're not doing anything that Plant Moran is doing, other than.
Exactly.
Plant Moran is doing what Sandy is doing, but not as much as Sandy. And I think it's difficult. I don't think you can compare what they did.
Okay, because there was some time doing, preparing audits in the documents. So it is different. It's a lot more labor intense.
Any other questions for Mr. Reinstead? If not, we'll move on. Clerk's item, seeing none. Unfinished business.
Quick question. At the last meeting, did we renew the monthly contract with Mr. Armstrong? Did we get this meeting?
No, I think we,
We did the monthly. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
If we make a motion to say,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
I wasn't sure.
New business. Call from the floor. Call from the table. I have two things. One is the update on the property demolition. We're going to award a contract for the house on First Street and Clark Street. The owner of the property on Roselle have started pulling their permits. They're going to do their own demo because that's owned by SDE. The house on Second Street, they have submitted plans to renovate their house. Plans haven't been approved. I personally think it's just a stall tactic.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that house.
Yeah. So we're waiting for a legal opinion telling us that the fact that we've gone through all the necessary steps, can we proceed? Okay, so that's your update on the property demolition. And another thing, Friday at noon, the girls in the office are hosting a luncheon for retiring Clerk Mack, and all elected officials have been invited. They're going to have some munchies and some finger foods and some. So that's Friday at noon.
Here.
Here, they're right here in this room.
Mr. The one on Second, is that the one that burnt?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And he ain't gonna fix it.
He's not gonna, it's just a stall tactic. I mean, they've been, yeah. So we just want to make sure that legally that we can proceed based on the fact that we've jumped through all the necessary hoops to get to this point. So, call from the table.
Motion.
First one, I know the last meeting we had, they were supposed to be fixing the street along Main Street.
The holes aren't as deep.
Yeah, they're out there today with that.
They're asphalt.
Finished filling it all out yet, so
Yeah,
when they gonna
today.
finish it all?
They started today with asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when they gonna finish?
Oh, it should be this week. It's going to be tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, because the weather's good and they put down the first layer.
Supposed to rain tomorrow.
yeah,
Is it supposed to rain tomorrow?
yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
I
change.
thought it was Friday.
No, it's Saturday.
Oh, well, I hope it changed till they're done.
The first layer of asphalt was put in today, so they should come back to the top of it.
I can provide somebody an answer. The second one is, I still need you to provide a name for Dr. Hospital. They're working on a
The
program?
name?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And I keep you, well,
I'll
talk to you
put it down.
afterwards. Call from table.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Adios, amigos.